Hello guys, today I'm gonna talk about Newjeans, opinions that most probably may not agree with me in. A few things to note before getting started. I am neutral about the Hee-jin feud. This video will definitely touch on the Hee-jin drama since Newjeans are involved in it anyway. This video mostly could also be a Hee-jin drama opinion too. I am also not that well informed about the ongoing Hee-jin situation, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong about some points. This video is my opinion, so it's alright if you disagree. Now let's get started. Let's address the issue that started it all. To put it simply, ILLIT is Dreamcore and Newjeans is Y2K. I would explain further, but you should probably watch this video as this channel, Rose's Crib, explained it in the most straightforward manner why they may look similar but actually are very different. Recently, Dispatch revealed many things about Hee-jin, and it is honestly just awful. I don't like it when Dispatch invades people's privacy at all, but the news brought by Dispatch are always true. Dispatch revealed and confirmed the truth that Hee-jin has been involved in the things that girls have been claiming to have done by themselves. It's even more clear since Hee-jin has tried to sue Dispatch for revealing these information illegally. This basically shows that Hee-jin did not deny the article but is just trying to sue Dispatch for the illegal way of getting the information. She basically admitted to pulling all the strings this whole time and that she has talked crap about the girls. Imagine talking behind the very people's back that supported you throughout the whole time. Even after this news, it's obvious that NWJNS and BUNNIES still are going to support her, which is delusional of them. This is the more recent one, but I actually don't think the girls left Adore. No matter how much they have said to the media, they are still under the contract. They just said to the media that they left, but in terms of contracts, I'm pretty sure that Adore still hasn't officially terminated it. It also is not just a normal business contract. It is exclusively made for them. Even if they want to terminate the contract, they definitely will have to pay for the consequences for terminating the contract earlier than stated. Right now, Newjeans are just rebelling in hopes that Adore actually terminates the contract because of public pressure and media pressure. So, no, I don't think Newjeans left Adore. They are only meaning that in their words, not in the actual documents. So Newjeans had declined to collaborate on stage with Zarabazion to protect them in case Hype tries to do anything. See, that would be thoughtful. Except that Newjeans clearly forgot how much they negatively affected ILLIT. What about them? Why are they not protected if Newjeans cared so much about protecting other groups? Why didn't Newjeans try protecting them or ask BUNNIES to leave the girls alone? See, Newjeans made a decision to be involved in this situation, but ILLIT never wanted to be in this mess. The girls were minding their business and randomly got dragged and extremely hated. Sure, hate trains come and go, but people really forgot that ILLIT are also people with feelings. They have similar ages to Newjeans too, you know? Double standards for real. So if you don't know, the CEO had made a statement in which the specific line saying, "I think that there has not been a single group debuted that has not thought about Newjeans, or was not influenced by them ever since they debuted." This made BUNNIES say that the CEO just admitted to copying, but I think that is a wrong interpretation. I feel that what the CEO may have wanted to convey is that at one point everyone followed Newjeans' style since it was popular at the time. It isn't admitting to copying. It seems to be admitting that the Newjeans style was a popular trend that artists followed. Hence, I don't think this was believed admitting to copying. Okay, I know people are like, they are actually involved in the industry, so obviously if they support Newjeans, that means they know the truth. Which I agree, but they also know and probably learn to gauge public reaction. Let's use Rosie talking about Newjeans as an example. Many people praised her for saying, "I love those girls so much," but what would happen if she had not shown that support to Newjeans? You can't tell me that BUNNIES will be trying to ruin her reputation if Rosie had not said anything about the situation or tried avoiding it completely. We also know this question was random, and clearly the question was asked to stir some type of controversy, and Rosie quickly handled the situation. I just want to say, unless if the idols themselves come out on their own choice to support NewJeans, I probably wouldn't count their support or statement for anything. NewJeans have claimed for mistreatment several times, and especially Hani going to the National Assembly just to speak about it. When I first heard that Hani was going to be at the National Assembly, I was happy since this is a great opportunity for Hani to prove the mistreatment with evidence. However, it's clear that she spoke about the same ignoring situation again and again, and there was no evidence. No offense, but if she is going to be in the court, she should have brought actual evidence and information to prove NewJeans was mistreated, and she didn't. I also want to point out that Hybe literally spent billions of Korean won on NewJeans. How is that mistreatment? I know that just because Hybe treated NewJeans good in a few instances never means that Hybe didn't mistreat NewJeans, but there's literally no evidence to the mistreatment. However, we can see NewJeans getting so much opportunities, and let's be real, these came from Hybe. Mistreatment, in my opinion, would be Fromis 9 being forgotten and then disbanded. Let's be honest, being ignored one time isn't mistreatment. I remember seeing a video that BTS Jungkook was once ignored on TV in his rookie days too, but he didn't yap about it in the National Assembly, did he? I just want to say many people have been ignored many times. Being ignored one time by a person who technically isn't even under the company you are in doesn't mean you are mistreated. Okay, so I sat down and watched the whole conference, and I have a few points to bring up. Number 1 being, it is clear NewJeans have never heard of business. So Hani has said that Hybe or Adore has become solely profit-driven and no longer has any sincerity in the art of music. I seriously don't know what to feel about this statement. Why else would someone establish a company in the first place? I seriously doubt any K-pop company that was established wanted to just create music for people. The genuine chances of that are low. K-pop is business. What do you expect? The companies will obviously be profit-driven. And clearly Hybe is one of the companies that strives to do well and has been successful too. And precisely speaking, the main reasons of Hee-jin wanting to be CEO again is obviously for money too, and aren't NewJeans supporting her? Number 2 is that the girls need to read the contract they signed once more. Basically, Heron said, I've read several articles about penalties, but we have not violated our exclusive contract. We've worked hard and done our best so far, so we believe there's no reason for us to pay any penalties. Well, that just makes no sense considering that they literally tried to terminate the contract earlier than stated. I obviously don't know anything about how the K-pop contracts usually work, but I do know there will be some sort of penalties or consequences for termination of the contracts earlier than stated. Number 3, I think NewJeans don't know what they are stepping into. Now, when there were questions asked, it's clear the girls don't know what they're stepping into. There was a question asked in which the reporter asked, does termination of the contract mean you're filing for an injunction? Now, I personally don't know what an injunction lawsuit is, so I was pleasantly surprised that Minji knew and explained why there wasn't a need to file that lawsuit. I was like, damn, they know what they're getting into. And then my hopes were crushed when another question asked on how exactly NewJeans were planning to fight for the legal matters of getting the trademark name and the songs, basically everything that is tied to the name NewJeans. And that was a fair question to ask, right? I mean, that is one of the key takeaways from the whole conference. And the girls genuinely replied with, nothing has been discussed yet. What do you mean? I am genuinely confused about this statement because NewJeans saying they will fight to keep their name was literally one of the main things they said they plan to do. Like, in order to leave your company, trademark issues are one of the main things you gotta settle down with the company. I seriously thought they got it covered considering they knew what an injunction lawsuit was until I realized they haven't discussed the main things they needed to discuss. Hence, I don't think the girls know what they're doing, which should be a concern for BUNNIES if you ask me. Number 4, Hani can't be serious. Okay, let me explain. So during the conference, one reporter mentioned about the additional evidence on the workplace bullying and discriminatory treatment and asked when the girls were planning to disclose these specific evidences. And Hani seriously replied with, I believe I have thoroughly expressed my position during the parliamentary audit, so I don't think it's necessary to mention them again in this context. First off, I went through the whole National Assembly in my head and seriously don't remember seeing any sorts of evidence presented by Hani. I seriously don't think Hani presented any more evidences or instances of workplace bullying. Now, Hani did mention about some other instances such as private messages that seemed to insult the girls at one point in the National Assembly, but where are the proof? I also want to point out that Hani has been constantly shifting back to the ignoring incident, which genuinely made it seem she was only relying on that incident to show she was bullied at her workplace. And I also want to say, if the media reporters themselves ask this question, isn't it safe to assume that even the media themselves can't see any other valuable evidences shown in the National Assembly? I genuinely don't understand what evidence Hani has provided in the National Assembly and hence say she can't be serious right now. Number 5. It seemed that Newjeans had just prepared their answers for the reporters. Now, I know that when holding a press conference, it is natural for people to have answers for questions that they know media will ask about. However, it seemed that Newjeans were repeating a lot of things for quite some questions when clearly the media reporters were trying to go into more specific details. I don't know what to feel about that because it shows they are trying to either keep it confidential or just trying to avoid answering questions because they have no plans. Either way, I wanted specific answers to some of the reasonable specific questions asked and I didn't get answered. Number 6. I seriously think Hee-jin was involved in the conference. Okay, so there was a question asked where the reporter asked, was the press conference decided after consulting with MHJ? Or did MHJ learn about it after the members decided to hold the press conference? How did MHJ react? And your parents cheered for you a lot. Now, I don't want to copy-paste the whole paragraph Hani responded with, but let me summarize. Hani went on to explain how much the members had discussed on what to do and explained they didn't want to be in that environment anymore and that their parents had been very supportive. Hani then concluded with a statement something like, "That's why we are terminating the contract." Well, nice mini speech I guess, but where did Hee-jin go? Hani seriously didn't even attempt to try to cover the fact that she wasn't addressing the main question and went to yap about how much the girls discussed about this. That in itself is seriously kind of suspicious if you ask me. Why didn't Hani mention anything remotely related to the question? I also think it's clear with the evidence dispatch brought that shows that Hee-jin has been involved with Newjeans with things they claim to do themselves. So my question is, what are the chances to Hee-jin being involved with this press conference in some sort of way? Very high chances if you ask me. That's all I can think of when I first saw the press conference, and I know this is a very long opinion since it contains sub-points, but let's move on. It's sad to say this because Newjeans had a lot of potential to be successful, which was tarnished because of Hee-jin from the start of this drama. In the end, we still don't really know whether these girls really believe the things they have spoke out about or they just have been manipulated by Hee-jin. Although I personally think they are manipulated. As much as how Newjeans claim that Newjeans never die, once this whole conflict comes to an end, it's obvious that Newjeans are one of the people who will emerge extremely scathed from all the lawsuits. I personally thought it was brave of Newjeans to speak up about the situation, but I can now see that they are just puppets of Hee-jin. The only possibility of Newjeans actually releasing music per normal is only if Hee-jin establishes her own company or somehow manages to get into another company. However, technically speaking, I doubt there will be any company coming forward to accept Newjeans or Hee-jin into their company. As much as how much money Newjeans can make another company, they obviously will be extra cautious on how they treat the girls, as they once called the ignoring incident as mistreatment. So I can't imagine any company taking in Newjeans. I obviously don't believe that Hee-jin can somehow establish her own company, as she literally had to sell her house for lawsuits, so from where exactly will she get the money? I also want to say that even KMCA themselves have gotten involved, claiming they may exclude the group's album and digital sales data, so it could also be another hindrance for Newjeans. No matter how long this situation will be stretched, since it's obviously going to only end in 2025, I can't see a possible outcome where Newjeans recovers from the damage. To all the bunnies, you are toxic and need to seek some sort of professional help if you do any of the following. Call anyone who don't show support to Newjeans a hype stan or Bang's wife. Call anyone who don't support Newjeans a Newjeans hater. Compare Veech's situation with Newjeans' situation. Still somehow support Min Hee-jin in this whole drama. Try to enlarge how much Newjeans actually were mistreated. Again, if you do all these things, please go get some help or learn to see the situation clearly. To all the non-toxic and chill bunnies out there who realize the reality of the situation, hang in there. Everything probably won't be alright in the end, but just wait for everything to be over. That's all for today. These are just my opinions, and if you didn't realize, I tried to take a more objective approach to it, mainly forming opinions from what has been revealed to us. I want to know your thoughts below. And thank you for watching this video.